Allen and Unwin and Wavesound Audiobooks presents an unabridged recording of Ruins by Amy Taylor, narrated by Reid and Sophie Cotton. For Chris and Teddy. The passengers on the early evening flight from Athens to London Heathrow Airport were waiting impatiently. The plane, having landed half an hour before, was sitting idle on the tarmac, while a delay of some kind kept the cabin doors closed. The sudden flurry of activity brought on by the landing, the unclicking of seatbelts, the retrieval of phones and bags, had subsided, and most of the passengers had now settled into a reluctant stillness, puncturing it only with the occasional sigh. In the middle of the plane, a man stood in the aisle, stooping as he attempted to entertain his restless and exhausted toddler. An older woman stood behind him, smiling at the red-faced child while her husband contorted himself in an effort to rummage through his belongings. The space the older couple took up prevented the woman in the window seat of their row from also standing in the aisle to stretch her legs. She glared ahead with annoyance. In the row behind her, a young couple remained seated, scrolling on their phones. For rows and rows behind them, more people fidgeted or sighed or stretched. The mood was melancholic. Their summer holidays were over, and their optimistic, carefree attitudes had expired. The colour the sun had imparted on their faces, ham pink mostly, now looked peculiar, like a fancy dress costume worn the day after the party. Frowns tugged at the corners of their mouths at the thought of the responsibilities they'd temporarily escaped, which now awaited them when they unlocked the doors to their flats. At this point, the joyful memories of their holiday were inaccessible. It would only be days later, when a colleague or friend inquired about their trip, that they would begin to recall the holiday in rosy selective vignettes, a form of voluntary repression that enabled them to silence the creeping, regretful notion that perhaps they should have chosen to spend their yearly summer holiday in Sardinia or Mallorca instead of an island in Greece. After 40 minutes of waiting, an attendant's voice crackled over the intercom to announce the names of 2 passengers and request they report to the officer who was waiting for them after they disembarked. The announcement sent a surge of re-energized murmurs through the cabin. Did they just say a police officer is waiting for them? I think so. Well, you don't hear that every day. Do you think they're in trouble? Could be. Does sound like it, doesn't it? I wonder why. Heads swiveled to locate which passengers the announcement concerned. Catching the scent of a good...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?